My name is Ingrid and today I want to share with you a very inspiring story about how helping someone can create such a big change that it can create an impact not just in that person, but in an entire community. My job as a marine scientist and as an oceanographer required that I went on oceanographic cruises all over the world. And this is something I did for about 15 years. When you are on board of a ship, that ship becomes your world. When you're there, you are away from home. You are away from everything you know. You're away from your family. You're away from the world that you normally live out there. And you are on this ship that becomes a community. When you are on the ship, in the ship can be people from all kind of nationalities, from all different parts of the world, all different cultures, all different backgrounds, all different levels of education, all different careers. So you all come together forming this community that is floating in the middle of nowhere, and you have to be able to make this community function. This ship, it has to be self-sufficient, and everybody on board has to help for this to happen, for this community to survive, and for things on this ship to work properly and to function. And let me tell you, there's something that is really important that I have seen, and I by my own experience, and is the food. Remember, when you're out there, you're separating yourself from everything you know and the foods that you usually eat, and food for us human is a very important thing. So when you are on the ship and the food is not good, things can turn really bad. The morale can go really low and people can become really aggressive. Things are actually turn really negative. But when food is good and you're expecting to eat a good meal every day, things can change incredibly. Like people are happier and life on board is a lot better. The morale is high. So it is incredible how things like these can actually shape the behavior of a community. So one of my experiences on one of my trips was to encounter a situation in which things were going really badly. The food was not good, and people were having a really hard time. So on board of the ship, the person in charge of the whole kitchen department is the chief steward. He will direct, instruct, and assign personnel performing functions as serving and preparing meals. He will also be in charge of the inventory in the stores, and also things like planning with the captain and with the chef. That he will be in charge of planning the meals, planning the menu. So if the person that is in charge of this whole department is having a hard time, is not doing good, is not doing a good job, then this will be reflected in the function of the people under him, and in this case, preparing the meals. So there was a situation in which the chief steward was having a really hard time. He was not doing good. He was a person that was acting in a very negative way. He was being, I guess, closed up, and situation was turning really, really bad, and it was reflecting in the food that was being cooked. So when I came on board of this ship to relieve the chief scientist, to relieve my peer scientist, sorry, I discovered that's what I learned, that the situation on board was not being really good, and that my previous trip had been really bad. And sometimes when you're on this ship, you can be there for a matter of months. And in my case, at least I had to be there for 1 month. So imagine being 1 month out there in an environment like that can be really, really bad. So I came on board, and knowing that things were not going good in your first day of your 30 days is just not good. But something I do every day of my life, something that is one of my prayers every time I wake up in the morning, is to ask God, to ask the universe, God, please help me be of a service today. Well, please guide me to do something for someone. How can I serve? How can I make things better? How can I help someone in need? And I do this every day, because I know that sometimes even just by smiling, even just by being there present for somebody, can make a change. So that's my prayer every morning. God, guide me to help someone. Guide me to be of a service today. How can I serve someone? And a couple of days later, after being on this trip, it was, I would say, my second or third day. I was working at, sometimes the shifts that we have to do are like, could be between 10 and 12 hours, so it could be a very long shifts, and people are tired too after a whole day of work. This day I was in my break to go to lunch, and I got really busy, so I was late for lunch. And there's this kind of like hours, almost like a strict hours for the times where the food will be served. So I was already rushing, getting late for lunch, and I got there, I grabbed my lunch, went to eat, and pretty much I was the last one in the dining room. So while I was eating there, the chief steward came into the room, and he was a very, very serious man. I would say he was around his 50s, and he was always frowning, and he was just you could tell, like a very close person. He didn't have much expression in his face other than kind of looking angry, and he completely ignored my presence. He acted like I wasn't even there. And he went to the salad bar where he was going to pick up all the salad. And while he was there, I just turned to him, and I just talk. And I just started to talk about how healthy like salad was, and how much I love organic food. And he turned and say that sadly none of the food mostly was organic, and we started to just a conversation from that, because he was a lot into organic food. Then he said to me that actually he had created a cookie made from vegetables, and that it was a really healthy a snack, and that he was trying to see how he could sell and promote his product. So that was amazing how we were able to at least hold a little conversation and just a little break the ice. I could see how this person had this really, really kind of attitude with like a strong, very thick shield around himself. So after talking for a few minutes, he already kind of felt uncomfortable, and he's like, okay, I have to go, and he left. Then, incredibly, that same day in the evening, after I ended my shift, I met him in one of the corridors, and the corridors on the ships are very narrow. So I was walking in this corridor, he was coming, and we just pretty much met face to face. And I said, hey, I was thinking, you just thinking about your cookie and how you would like to sell this cookie, and I was thinking maybe about writing something. You could write something that could help promote. And he says, I actually like to write. And I said, oh yeah, because I was thinking you could maybe, knowing that you're having such a good product, you could just maybe make more products and write a cooking book. I just came with something that just popped into my head. And he says, I never thought about writing anything about cooking, but I love writing. And he was holding at that moment a folder in his hands, and incredibly, in this folder he had some writings done by himself. And he says like, oh look, what a coincidence, I have here some of my writings, would you like to see? And I said, oh, I would love, can I see it? And he's like, okay. And he just showed me, and it was poetry. And he's reading this amazing, amazing, beautiful poem. And I read there, and I'm like, wow, this is really, really beautiful. This is amazing. You're writing something so beautiful. And I said, look, I am actually writing a book. I just finishing the first draft of my book, and I, if it's okay with you, I would love that you read I have an introduction, a chapter an introduction in the book of the book. Would you read it? And I said, the way you write, this is so pretty that you could probably give me a little bit of an idea of what I'm doing sounds right. And he looked at me and he said, okay, I'll read it, give it to me. So I ran, I said, well, just wait for me. I ran to my room, and I had this printed there. I grabbed it and I gave it to him, and I said, what about tomorrow? You tell me what you think. And he's like, okay. So next day at lunchtime, we met at the dining room, and he had my writing there. He gave it to me, and he said how much he liked it, and that he gave me like couple of good advice of how could I just maybe express myself differently here and here. So I said, look, actually, like I said to you, I am pretty much almost done with the first draft of a book. I'm writing this book, and would you like to that I read this book to you? And he just kind of like, and I said, I would read just the first 2 chapters to you, and if you like it, we can keep reading. I really, it would be so nice to hear what you think about this. And he was like, okay. So that day, at the end of my shift, we decided just to meet in a conference room, so where we could just sit and read. I brought my laptop and I waited for him in that room. I didn't even know he was going to come, and he came. And I read the first 2 chapters of my book to him. That was all the time we had because of the different shifts that we were working in. So we had actually 1 hour where we could actually meet and talk. And I read this to him, and he really, really liked it. And he's like, I said, would you come back tomorrow and I read you other chapters? And he says, okay. And the next day, when I arrived to the conference room, he was already there waiting for me. And I read other 2 chapters. And this started to happen every day. And every day I read 2 chapters to him. And as I read this to him, he started to open up to me. And I was putting in this book with all my honesty. It was the story of my life. This book is a book I wrote, is my autobiography, and I was just writing there openly everything on this book. And he started to open up to me, and he started to talk to me, and little by little he started to tell me how was he feeling and why he was so angry and so depressed and so sad. And this was amazing. And it was amazing how throughout the days he started to change. And for the first time I saw this person smile, and he started to go to the kitchen and prepare the most amazing pastries that you can imagine. And this was incredible because the attitude of this person started to change, and this started to impact the whole ship, the whole people on board. And as he was preparing all these amazing pastries, and he started to smile and he started to talk, the chef became like happier, and he started to cook these incredible meals. And the people that he was also in charge of, the people cleaning the rooms, were now doing their job with a happy smile in their face. And it was amazing how this started to just escalate, and the environment in the whole ship started to change. And every day for 30 days I read to this person, and we both started to talk and open up to each other. And this was amazing. He said, this is the first time in my life that I have the opportunity to be myself, to really express what I think. And I saw how this heavy shield started to crack open, and this person started to become alive. And the only thing I did was read to him and listen what we had to say. That was all. And it's amazing because by helping him, he also helped me. And this helped an entire community that was having a really hard time. And when I said to him, we finished after 30 days, we read for 30 days. When I finished reading the book to him, I said to him, I don't know if I should really publish this book, because like he has said to me, oh my God, Ingrid, this book is brutally honest. And I said, I'm afraid, I don't really think that I should publish this book. And he said, no, it is the contrary. It is the contrary. You have to publish this book. And he said, I have to tell you something. The reason why I keep coming back is because after you read to me for the first 2 days, I went on my room and I fell on my knees, and for the very first time in my life, I surrendered. He said, I cried like a baby. I surrendered because there was somebody that cared. there was somebody that cared. And he said to me, sorry, he said to me, I have to confess something to you. He said, my intention during this trip was to kill myself, was to commit suicide. And you and your book saved my life. And the only thing I did was to care. And that's what is happening to our communities nowadays, is that we have forgotten to care about others. Is that when we see a situation, we prefer to turn away and ignore it because it's easier to ignore. It's easier to walk away and think that nothing is happening. It's easier to close our eyes and ignore what is happening around us. Because it takes some effort, it takes some time, it takes some willing to go and do something for somebody. When people come to me and ask me, what can I do if I am just a person to solve the problems of the world? What can I do to bring peace to the world? The world is at war. What can I do? And I said, you can do everything. You can do everything, but you cannot think about the whole world. You cannot go think about the entire collective consciousness. You have to center in what you can do here. You have to start from home. And what is home? Home is you. Home is each one of us. What can I do? How can I regain my center? How can I look within and regain my inner peace? How can I go back to my heart, look within and be at peace with myself? That's where peace starts. Then now you see your home, the house where you live, with your parents, with your sisters, with your brothers, with your wife, your kids. What can I do? God, like I said everyone, God help me to be at service. How can I do to alleviate, to create peace with the people that is around me? Then how can I bring that peace to work? How can I be at peace with my neighbor? How can I be loving to the person that is selling me something at the store, that is driving the bus, that is whatever the world is doing around? How can I give even if it's just a smile? Peace starts with each one of us. Peace starts by us regaining our inner peace. I say, like, if you have a big house and the whole house is a big mess, there's mess everywhere. Every room is messy, dirty, disorganized. If you think about fixing the whole house in one day, guess what? You will become overwhelmed just about the idea of cleaning this house. How can you do that? You will be petrified, paralyzed. You cannot do it. It's too overwhelming. But if you start room by room, even if you cannot tackle the whole room, space by space, little by little, you will be able to organize this entire house. When you realize, be like, wow, I did it, and you will feel good. You will feel good about yourself. You will feel good because you did something for yourself and you did something for the ones around you. So it's little by little, step by step, starting from us, from our own willing, for the willing of wanting to organize this house. And sometimes we don't know this, where this willing is, then find the inspiration. Find what inspires you. What inspires you to do. And if you center in yourself, if you go to your heart center, you'll find that inspiration there. It's life itself. This person on the ship said something very beautiful to me. He says, God bless you, because although you are a scientist, you can still see the light. So we don't have excuse. It's not because I am this or I am that or I am this religion or I am this color or I have this background or I have this culture. We all have a heart. We all have a spirit. We all have and are made of the same exact love. We just need to go and look within. I absolutely love this sentence that says, helping one person might not change the whole world, but it could change the world for one person. And that person will change the world of another and of another and of another. This is a ripple effect, just like happened on the ship. When I went on board, it was miserable. People were about to kill each other. And when I left, there was harmony everywhere. There was smiles everywhere. We all can do it. So I invite you to care. That's all you have to do, is to care. It's not to turn around and look away. It's to care about the others. I invite you to regain your inner power and go look within. Learn to forgive, if that's what is stopping you for helping others. Learn to forgive yourself. When we help others, when we share love with others, we are giving that to ourselves too. Like I said to you, I helped this person on board and he helped me and we help an entire community, and that is amazing. It feels great. It feels awesome. Why we don't want to feel this way? So my invitation to you is to find within yourself that inner peace, that inner love. Close your eyes. Breathe deep. And think, I exist. I exist. What can I do for others? How can I be of service? How can I be the light in the life of others? Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here with me one more time. I love you, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Thank you, Dawn, for allowing me to share this amazing story. It has so much value. I love you, my dear friend. In Lakesh.